Everybody, and welcome to Let's Build live from Oak Hill Works. How are you all doing? I hope you are okay. The church red is a very nice building, but it's absolutely huge. He has it all built and ready. It is going to go on the layout at some point, but yeah, it is absolutely huge. And hello Heritage Railway Productions, welcome, I hope you are well. Oh, I saw you post the video of the P-Class finally coming out of service earlier on. I've not had a chance to look at it yet, but I will watch it because it's a P-Class and an H-Class and core beautiful. So, today we are building Scenics for the 009 layout. Oh yeah, I forgot to update the commands page on the website, James. I didn't add all of your suggestions, but I added some of them. You'll have to play and find out for yourself because I forgot to update the commands page. Can't bet about it, seeing how big my Yarmouth church is. It's bigger than Norwich Cathedral. I have not seen that, but I mean, I would show you how big the church is, but if I put, like, that's not enough space to, that's about half the church. It is absolutely huge. So yes, Scenics for the 009. The most important thing to get done on there, oh for goodness sake, stupid YouTube. Hello Christopher, how are you? I hope you are well. I'm glad you approve of the one you found so far, James. So yeah, the most important thing for me to get on the layout is the buildings. The buildings are going to be bell tents of World War I army issue variety. I looked around for many of these. I found lots of pre-built resin ones. They were all really, really expensive. And I didn't feel like doing really, really expensive. So I looked around a bit more and found dimensions and photos and all sorts. So I made my own drawings for making them. Despite the there's 4 on here, there is literally the base, the lower side, the cone. Along with all other drawings I've done. These are up on the website, available for you to download, oakhillmodelrailway.co.uk. Click on downloads and under the heading Scenic items you will find a link to this as a PDF so you can print out and build at home. I will be building it out of brass, and because these things were canvas, I've actually got some fabric that is very tightly woven. They were white, well, a lot of them issued before 1916 were white, before they went over to being olive after 1916. So I thought I'd go with some white ones because, you know, we're still in the UK. There's no point issuing olive tents to a camp in the UK. So I got some slightly off-white fabric to use for the actual material of the tent. You all like saying hydration, so yes, hydration is important, as are mugs with my logo on them, available from the merch store, !merch in the chat. Well, but tired after 2 days walking around Duxford. Hope all are well. Indeed, I am well, thank you. At least until this all goes terribly wrong, because of course I've done all the research and the drawings, so when it all goes terribly wrong, I might not be quite so well. I have also done some drawings that aren't up on the website. and are significantly less well done. These will be the stairs, because I want the station level at the top to access the inside of the old quarry via a set of steps for people. So we have a landing to come off the top of the side, so the top of the cliff is here. Landing comes off, many steps, because I couldn't be bothered to work out how many I actually needed. And some side bits that will stand up next to it and hold a banister in place. Again, banister soldered out of brass. Those are the targets for this evening. Have hydration, I have cider. I approve of cider. Cider is good. So, bell tents. These are 10-foot bell tents. Was a very common size of bell tent issued by the army, World War One. They were also roughly 10 foot tall. So they will be as tall as they are round. Where the drawings on the website have been modified, so this dot actually exists and isn't drawn over the writing in Sharpie. Now about 2 foot of straight wall round the bottom, which is the lower side here, which will be cut out of the fabric once the framework is built. And then the actual cone on the top going to where I have put a pillar in the middle to hold it all up. Because since I'm using actual fabric, I thought I need quite a substantial base for these. There was a young woman of Ride who ate too many apples and died. The apples fermented inside, lamented and made cider inside her insides. Very good. So yes, we are going to build 2 foot high supports on all of these dots. They are going to be connected by a ring running round, which will probably actually be straight bits cut to length and soldered many times, and then diagonals running up to the top, and that should give us enough support. The space between these is big enough for the openings on one, so that it will actually be open and be folded back. Before you all go thinking I've planned this out, it could all still go very wrong. So I hope you enjoy. First things first, we need a ruler. And we need a shortish bit of brass, so that we can cut some sides. Up here they'll be 8mm long to be the size of the lower side here. And we need 8 of those. Very impressed with your research, Harry. Thank you, Ian. So when you consider that these are literally 40mm across and 40mm tall, the cheapest ones I found to buy were 20 odd quid. It just wasn't happening. So instead, a bit of research and I can make as many as I want. And so can you, because, you know, I make all my drawings available on the website. That's what it's there for. Whilst you're there, click a few ads or something, because why not? Ah, Red's corrected his message, so you can't drink soda. I mean, technically, I wouldn't advise it. It wouldn't be very good for you. But yes, you also cannot solder with cider. That is true. I wonder if it'll work as a flux though. Who knows? I've heard of some strange things that do, and I can't think of what it is off the top of my head. So yes, we are going to snip 8mm long bits of brass. And in theory, we shall end tonight with at least one bell tent in one piece. I will be very happy if we do. That's 5. And that makes 8. Whilst we're at it, we'll snip the middle bit at 40mm. L's cut brass long enough for a leg and a side. That's a good idea. But I don't know how long the sides need to be yet, Jeff. This is the problem with my research. But yes, you are quite right. That would be very sensible. It's never too late. I've got these fit. I've got what, another 4 of these, and they're nearly 1.5 meters long each. It's never too late. But yes, that's a very sensible idea. If I had an extra 15mm, that would be good. See, Jeff, it's good having you here. So those 8 are going in the bin. In fact, since Jeff is here, James, Jeff is the maker of the automation stuff. I sent you the link to the RM web blog of the other day. See, you're famous, Jeff. We were all discussing you on my Discord. There we go, look, it's all done. In my head in shame. And good evening, Javier. How are you? You have just missed me messing up. And having Jeff point out a much better way of doing this. That landed somewhere. I am very well, Javier. How are you? So we want to go 23mm long and not ping them halfway across the bench. And then we want to take my pliers so that we can grab these here, put a 90-degree fold in them, and I can check there, and yes, that is how long we want them. To sit like that. Press to build several places out. Well, fair hand. Likewise, incidentally, have you ever considered selling your splendid creations on platforms other than Shapeways? Their material is not always the best. Hacking Arduino code this evening. Excellent, Jeff. We have more to show us tomorrow night on the club Skype then. Quite well taken break. Architecture has been a pain. I can totally understand that. Right, let's get some more of these cut to length and then we'll bend them all. So that's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6 when it comes out my finger. 7. 8. And I'm still not through the first one of these bits of brass. And I bought these for finishing the Craven tank. It just happened to be buying this much was the cheapest way of buying it. So now we want to bend each of these at the 8mm mark. Thought about our place to sell them. The real reason I prefer Shapeways is because of the marketplace being more navigable. Other 3D print sites just don't have that smooth UI in my opinion. You're quite right, Javier. I can see the appeal of Shapeways because it's nice and straightforward. And good evening, Stephen. How are you? It is good to see you here. We are working on some World War I era bell tents this evening, so you don't have to be offended by me chopping up carriages that look nothing like what they're supposed to look like. Although we are working to drawings I have produced from research because I couldn't find anything available other than very, very expensive resin blobs for these. So whether they look anything like they're supposed to look when we're done, who knows. Looking into eBay, it's a bit tricky given I live in the US, maybe I can work something out. I mean, eBay worldwide, people just have to deal with the really expensive shipping that eBay put on it. Just a quick note to say how impressed I've been with your LBSC Horsebox and Bolster Javier. Javier's stuff is great, isn't it? It's really not the reason I've not been looking in. I mean, I didn't think it would have been, but it did feel worth the joke. So there we go, they're all at right angles now. Thank you for the suggestion, Jeff, it was rather good. I would think of these things myself, but I'm just not that clever, you know. Alright, I suppose we best turn the soldering iron on. And I suppose I best tin all these before I do this, because otherwise it'll just go terribly. Once the iron heats up, of course, we have the big soldering block. Whilst we're at it, we'll tin the top of that one as well, although it's going to be a while. Right, there we go, the iron is heated up. No, you can't ask where the soldering iron was whilst I used my hand. If I tin the ends of these and then put them down, they might have a chance to cool down so that I can hold the tinned end to tin the corner. So I'll put them down in order. Show that one please, YouTubes. We don't need to keep hiding all these messages. Reason I asked for you to get hold of one of your iFreeze and better material than Shapeways. It would be good to get hold of one of Javier's iFreeze in a better material than Shapeways offers, wouldn't it? I also quite fancy one of his E4s in a better material than Shapeway offers, one of the early ones, of course. Because I've got several Bachmann E4s. And as for the iron looking nice and hot, James, it's about 400 degrees. So you could say it is rather warm. James, but honestly gone to iMaterialise, but you have to purchase every model you upload before it goes onto the market, and I really don't have that kind of money or interest from buyers. IEG E4, good screen actually. I'm going to be doing my early E4 in. I think I've got to go hunting back through past editions to find out more about those white and beanie wagons. I don't believe they've been on before. There will be a review of this one coming out on Tuesday, because this is a new release from Simply Southern. I don't think it's even got onto his website yet, but he sent it to me and asked me to review it. The guy that owns Simply Southern is a friend of mine. I will disclose that now. But I am genuinely very impressed with this. It matches the photos rather well. You also built one of them as POW sides kit. I did. Here is the POW sides kit one, which I genuinely think isn't as good. Although the type of wagon might be better than this. Because this is the standard Dapol end loading 7-plank wagon. It should be a Gloucester 7-plank end loading wagon. So it's slightly different, but as far as ready to run wagons go, it's pretty close. This one here is also one of his from an earlier batch. These other three are all Dapol under their own brand, and the livery is just completely wrong. But for what I believe is £12.30 plus delivery, the Simply Southern wagon is very much worth the money. Now you don't need to watch my video on Tuesday because you've heard my opinion on it. I mean, honestly, I'm only doing the review because it is a company owned by a friend. I wouldn't do a review of a ready-to-run item. Otherwise, that's not really what this channel is about. Livery wrong or just different? The livery is wrong on the original. All the photos of them show the livery as it is on these ones. When compared to the ones done by Dapol themselves, which I've painted over some of the planks on this one, there is just lots of details missing, unfortunately. But they're reasonable, they'll get used. I bought these ones when I couldn't get hold of any of these ones. Because at the time I didn't know he was going to do a second run, and I got the one of the first run off eBay. No, I got it second hand down the model shop. And the POW sides one came from Lily. Which, conveniently, the POW sides one and the two Simply Southerns that have, so the ones with all the correct livery, all have different numbers. So there is no need for me to renumber any of them, although the three Dapol ones were all numbered 17. And interestingly, the wagons are white and the black is printed on those ones. So when I tried to change one of the numbers by removing, I tried to remove the one, that did not go well. Right, that is all of them tinned. Now it's time to melt some blue tack and set fire to the studio. It's good to be confident. Shame having wagons from the same merchant, factor, colliery, but with variations in livery, dimensions, IG, number of planks, height can look very good. Indeed it can. And I mean, I'm tempted to use them all because of that, because you're right, it can look good having the variations. The problem, of course, being they are all post-grouping wagons. And the ones that are correct actually have LNER written on the side of them. American cop voice. Okay, he's got a soldering gun. Anything like that, we'd do something like that. If I were to purchase a ride for everybody for raw materials, but that's suffice to enable you to sell that model on that website. Ah, that's a good idea, James. Fire extinguisher at the ready. I do genuinely have stuff ready just in case. I do not expect it to happen. But you can never be too sure, can you? So... there we go, the first bits are stuck. Do they have destination colliery written on them? They do. Oh well, managed to break that one somehow. Down here in the small text, empty 2, Hetton, number 2, Colliery Town, London and North Eastern Railway. Completely legible, I would like to point out. White and Beanie as a coal factor dates to the 1890s, and they did have wagons from that date. And it appears they continued, they always used that same colliery as their source. Well, hey, that one has stuck. For locomotive coal, use companies loco coal wagons, or for the Brighton Stevenson Clark. Indeed, it was Stevenson Clark for loco coal wagons, whose there's some kits for them being revived with transfers, so that will save some effort. But of course, White and Beanie are the local coal factor for my exhibition layout when I get around to doing more to it. And had their offices in the station yard. Not necessarily single company's wagons. I've seen a picture of LMS shed with 3 out of 4 wagons on the coaling age in the 1920s. So that's 3 out of 4 wagons from a different company. Hetton Colliery, County Durham, quite a trip. Indeed. A rather long trip, and the coal must have been really cheap for them to be going there. As I work my way round this, I remember I want one of these to be open. Interesting, what will they offer? Good to get an eye test on the way through. Okay, see you tomorrow, Jeff. Thanks for coming by. It has been great to have you here. She said yes, LNS, SR and LNER, I believe. Interesting. Very interesting. Knowing about Southern wagons pulled from the Great War onwards, so anything goes. Ah, of course. You jest, but I have a trip up to Durham coming up, returning #1 son to uni. Oh! Yes. Well, whilst you're there, might as well get your eyes tested. I want to put the next one on to get it lined up, don't I? To make sure I'm soldering in the right direction. See, one of these I should have made another 8mm longer to fold back down. Oh no, don't fall over. So I thought local coal wagons were non-pull, maybe. And me, feels like I've used half the truth filler on this house kit already. Oh, that's always a sign of a good kit. Dapol seems to have produced locomotive coal wagons for the Great Western. Ah, interesting. Not even glued the walls together yet. Wow. Almost anything. GW, LMS, LNER continue to have non-pull loco coal wagons supplemented by any other mineral wagon that's retired, but Southern may have continued to use coal factors. And maybe that's why we have so much filler. Nuclear Railway Company wagons were pulled from World War I onwards, but PO mineral wagons were not pulled until World War II. Yes, that's what I thought. Yeah, 304 here, for example, I have a picture of new in 1931. So a little bit late for my time frame, but at least I know the livery's right. Haha, that filler had to go all around the window frames, a bit drafty otherwise. Are these your peasant houses? Because are you saying the peasants don't you are too good for drafty windows? And there we go, we have a base for this tent. I think there's something in the law about wind and water type. Was there in 1910 though? They won't be producing LMS coal wagon, do they? Ow. Car, look at that, just the right size. That's genuinely just how big I want them. Just put a very poor photo on Discord showing the wagons. Ah, that shall be interesting to have a look at. Let's move all that out of the way. I've got some more snipping to do. Remember, things like this that are done where I should have made it longer, and my first lot of bits of brass cut, these are the mistakes I make so that you don't have to. Hydration is important. So, how big is this? It is 40mm. Yeah. And it is just the size we want for there, so we want another 7. Everyone else knew the answer to that already because they were smart. Depot produced LNER locomotive coal wagons. Back to that early condition goods green E4, very interesting. I've seen a couple of backdating surgery battle model, including one by Linny. Indeed, and I was going to backdate one, but then Javier came along. In fact, I got halfway through doing it, to be honest. And Javier came along and designed one for 3D print. And the result is going to be better than anything I can manage personally by hacking it about. Even if I did hack it about, I'd have to buy detailing parts like the chimney and stuff, which I would probably get from Javier, because Javier also does those as separate fittings. So it seems to make sense, since there is a model, a 3D print available that I can buy, and I can just stick on one of my many E4 chassis, that I should do that. Not where I've ever seen SR loco coal wagons, Graham Must, Fister and Thorn and loco coals are PO. Ah, interesting. Batman seems to make SR mineral wagons 5-7 plank. Oh no, can I see this? I can't SR won't see if I don't forget it. Graham Must post. You can see it at that link there that Javier has just brought up from the bot. That is a link to Javier's Shapeways shop. There is many nice things in there. Still, I've never seen an SR loco coal wagon. Well, it is very possible that they continue to use coal factors then. That is very interesting, Alex. Thank you. I will again remind everyone, if you want your own World War I bell tents and don't want to pay the stupid prices for the resin ones, these drawings are available on my website, oakhillmodelrailway.co.uk. in the download section. Yes, can't see any mods one either. Either the SR use PO wagons or they use general SR wagons, not marked loco file. Be interesting to know which it is. I would expect Colfax, as I say, the Brighton always used Stevenson Clark. I'm not going to do both ends at once, that would be silly. Let's put it down and let it cool down. So what sort of wagons do you use for locomotive coal on your layouts? Stevenson Clark wagon. Well, I will be using Stevenson Clark wagons. I haven't got any yet. There are a few kits available. So I will be getting kits and making them, because the Stevenson Clark wagons were built to I can't remember who built them, but they were built to a design made by Stevenson Clark's own doing. So they are unique to the railway world. I believe Bachmann have done a ready-to-run Stevenson Clark wagon at some point in history. I do not know if they did correct tooling for it. But I'm sure it was them that did one. Someone's definitely done one. Done standard RCH 1923 Stevenson Clark livery. There we go then. So, correct livery, wrong body. I didn't think they would have done the proper tooling for it, but I wouldn't want to speculate without knowing. Find an N-gauge Stevenson Clark wagon. I cannot remember who it is that does them, that you can actually find. There are a couple of members of the Brighton Circle doing them. 5 and 9 models certainly are doing Stevenson Clark wagons. I have seen the masters for making the tooling reasonably recently. Farage's 16 tonne years ago in SC colours. I don't know what wagons they used later in life. It's possible they did go on to more standard wagons at some point in the future. Well, the future for me anyway. I won't these wheels move where I want them. There we go, that's better. So now we need to get all the uprights on here, and I'm going to try and solder the top in one blob at the end. That is my plan. Dapol steel one, Bachmann wooden one, it seems. There we go, so it was, yeah. The Bachmann one is definitely the wrong type of wagon. Indeed, Graham's official song uses SC wagons. Ah, so perhaps the Southern carried on using Brassmaster, the Malcolm Finney one, which is found to late 19th century design. Roxy, a white metal one, which is done buffered equivalent, not the easiest kit. Interesting here, a new kit for 5 and 9 Batman model is correct for post 23, as Stevenson Clark did adopt the RCH design. Ah, interesting. And I'm not sure if the 5 and 9 is a new kit or a redo of someone else's old kit from Masters that Chris has acquired from elsewhere. I've got a feeling it is the latter of those scenarios. Yeah, these all bend into place okay. Evidently that first one I put on did stick to it and was pushing it over because I'd got the angle wrong. But I don't particularly want to have to resolder them all if I don't have to. Interesting that layout uses separate wagons SR branded for the Ash. Yeah, I would assume it would. Don't know much about working the locomotive coal trains. Not sure if anyone here has information on how often call it a depot, for example. I would not know. Would the Ash wagon be in the same train? Good questions. Murky area. The Roxy ones go back to Mr. Burgundy. Ah. I'm not sure if the ones that Chris is doing are the dumb buffered ones. I can't remember. It's very possible that the ones he's doing also go back to Mr. Burgundy and are the slightly later sprung buffered variety. Turn that round this way now. Loco coal wagons form part of a regular mineral train trip to the shed from the nearest marshalling yard. Aha, there we go. The Brighton used at least part of its loco ash for ballast in yards and sidings. Interesting indeed. Hydration is important, everyone. Batman SC wagons are very hard to find. They are indeed. I have not found any available for sale ever since discovering they existed. Right, now my trick is going to be to get this upright and get everything stuck to it. And you all thought I put lots of thought into these things? No. They're all going to the right place at roughly the right angle. I'm tempted to solder them together and cut off the excess, you know. By the way, I've drawn over the 3D render of the Everone shapeways. It's nice, isn't it, Stephen? Loco ash for yards and sidings keeps the weeds at bay but leaves you poisoned brownfield site. It does indeed. A weathered one on eBay. Did you never do pioneering in the Scouts? I was never in the Scouts. Solden tent is an interesting shape. It is. It is a bell tent. But no, I was never in the Scouts. There we go, my tent stands itself up. It shows. I was in the Air Cadets when I was a kid. Had to put up a tent in the dark once. That was fun. We arrived to our campsite at about 11 o'clock at night. We had never even seen the tents we were putting up. Never mind having put them up before. And had to put them up before we could have dinner. There we go. It's roughly the right shape now. What we need to do is get our sides on it. I'd rather stay in a hotel. Oh. So would I, but there we go. Yeah, my lack of being in the Scouts is led me onto a good path where I am now a committee member and frequent adult helper at the local Scouts. One of my sons on a Scout camp had to put up a tent in the dark. It was only in the morning they discovered it was inside out. Brilliant. So I wonder what the chance is of my cone of material being the right shape are. you'd think this would be the sort of thing I'd have tested before A, live streaming, and B, uploading the drawings to the website. It's not. Yep, if I'd have built that properly, that'd be fine. Scout group treasure myself, always too busy counting the money to get involved, putting up tents. Did have to sleep in one family camp, very lumpy. Oh, lovely. I've not been on any camps with them yet, which some might say is a good thing. I'd be inclined to agree with them. Should probably check that this is the right size as well. Yes, that's fine. So now we have actual material that we're using. This is the bottom of the skirt from Oak Hill. Because Oak Hill does have a skirt covering part of it, I'm going to snip a bit of a more manageable size of this off quickly. So we're going to have tents that actually look like canvas. That's the plan anyway. Because I can stick those on there, cut them out slightly big, and then trim off the excess when we're done. Just to go back to Javier's Prince Ramo, was that the Craven tank you built a few weeks ago? It was indeed. And a very nice Craven tank it is too. It's got a whole train of coaches to go behind it now as well. Well, almost. I'm missing one, but it has an authentic rake that this would have been pulling in the late 1860s. I have photographic evidence for it. So I'm going to do this with double-sided tape and hope that it sticks. It doesn't need to stick well, it just needs to stick well enough for me to cut round it. Like you said, let's go back and take a look. Yeah, he's got some very nice coaches. The carriage Bible's 13A, a 9B and a 20A. From the first two from Brighton Carriages Volume 1 and the third from Volume 2. It will also be getting a 9D which is in Volume 1. And to say they contrast a bit between the first and third that I currently have would be an understatement. Because here we have something resembling a Brighton first class of the era, and here we have something resembling a third class of the era. One of them looks slightly nicer than the other, although I suppose that is kind of the point. Neither of them are 100% accurate. This one's bashed from a triangle rocket coach, but the dimensions match pretty much perfect. It's just the wrong shaped windows. This is Scratchbuilt from Plasticard. And then the brake will be a lantern lookout luggage brake, and then it will get a second class brake to go with it, also, which will also be Scratchbuilt. And then once that's done, they'll get a video. I might scratch build the brake second on a live stream if people would be interested in seeing that. There's a million ways to let me know. The easiest one is to let me know in chat. Oh, don't be... You can never get the backing off this stuff, and now it's trying to keep the backing on there as I'm peeling it off. Very nice seeing some of that era on Chris's 5 and 9 RM web blog. Yes. In fact, the livery on this one was taken straight off of Chris's website. I always approve of early carriages. I thought you would, James. I actually have the drawings for the brake second here. Already printed. So yes, scratch building that could easily be a stream project. But it was pointed out to me that we're now nearly 80 episodes into this, and all I've done is roll in stock. So it would be nice to have a change, and therefore we are having a change. And well, you know, it's nice to progress on the layouts as well. And not just in video form. But the techniques needed to produce a convincing canvas tent ought to be transferable to wagon sheets. Quite possibly, yes. I suppose they would. Whether this will produce a convincing canvas tent or not is another matter. I mean, I decided step one was to use a bit of fabric to attempt to get some texture into it. But these are also going to be slightly hidden by trees, so how well it works out or not. Also, the only fabric I had was, say, is off-cut of the skirt from Oak Hill. Swapping scissors now to my much sharper scissors that can cut fabric nicely. I say they cut nicely, they don't appear to be doing it now, they're just trying to be a pain now. There we go. So we'll cut slightly oversize. Because I'd rather it slightly oversize and trim a bit than my measurements be wrong. Love to hear your stream, but YouTube's been YouTube again. At least I can roughly work out what is going on. Oh, that's nice of it. Tempted and by trees. I think that has a lot to do with my family experience when I was lumpy. Interesting techniques using fabric. I use PVA and water soaked paper or tissue paper. Both things I considered, but I did want, like, in the photos, these are photos from World War One, bearing in mind, they 1915-16 photos I was looking at. The actual texture in the canvas was very visible. So although I didn't originally consider something like PVA drenched paper, the fact that the texture was so prominent in these photos made me think, well, maybe that's not the right way to go about doing it. So that's definitely the right height there, so if I cut it down to height at least. The reason we're doing this as 2 parts rather than one big bit of canvas is, again, there was a visible line from the bottom of the bit of canvas that made up the cone to the bit that made up round the bottom, which I mean, I expected them to be the same bit, but there was a visible bit of shadow between them, so they can't have been. I didn't want to steal any of the pictures to use on stream because I don't know copyrights on them. They were mostly on World War One forums and, interestingly, tent forums, which I didn't know were a thing. It is very strange the places that railway modelling will take you. This week it took me to a forum dedicated to tents, which is where I got all the measurements from, actually. I think that's a difference vis-a-vis wagon sheets where the canvas was treated so the material texture wasn't so prominent. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. But this one, it was quite a visible texture in the canvas. Right, if I cut that end off, that gives us the size we want. The problem now is going to be the cone extends a bit further out than the lower wall. Yes, very slightly. Met a chap whose research had led into a bus enthusiast group. Very strange people, he said. Yeah, there's one of them that I see up on the school run, and he is a bit. But to be fair, I don't imagine they're any stranger than railway modelers or railway enthusiasts, because we're also very strange people most of the time. We have a few bus enthusiasts, local model railway club, and a lamppost enthusiast. See, it's everything, isn't it? So this will wrap around here, and I shall have the doors open. Lamppost enthusiast, is he a dog? Oh, brilliant. Unfortunately, his period of interest is post-World War II, so he can't help me get the lamppost right on Linton. That's a shame. So now we're going to go around the cone. Again, we are going to go bigger than the template. Because whilst I did all the math to make sure that this cone was correct, on the same note, I did all the working out and sums to make sure this cone was correct. So, been watching a kit for a pair of LSWR bogies on eBay, just sold £36, no wheels included. Nice and cheap then. This is what we get for liking very specialist niche stuff. No coach included either. It's funny, I was looking at a pair of K's Brighton four-wheelers earlier. £19 they were at. They do include the wheels. Now, I don't think we want to lose all of that and come quite down to the length of the template. I think we only want to lose about half of it. So I might have to extend the template out a little bit. Which, as I say, you think I would have checked these things before, but no. There we go. That's a bit of... I remember going on a trip Llangollen Railway with the missus. We went on a vintage bus to a craft thing or something. We came in a group of them, very hard explanation for Romania. But after she turned around and said, "Oh God, they make you seem normal." Oh, brilliant. There's the front, there's the front. Let's at least line it up the right way round. Yes, I think that's what we want. So we'll lose our bit of paper off of it now. And a few of the threads. That was silly. Yeah, every picture I saw of these had the doors open, and this will be modelled with the doors open as well. And now, with all that done, it's that bit you've all been waiting for. I'm going to snip the bottom off this. That's better. And now that I've done that, and we've got our support structure and our bits of canvas, what we're going to do, Linny's asking the important question of how I'm going to attach all this. So, as I say, now that we've reached this stage, what we're going to do is we're going to paint this and then leave it to dry. Because I can't leave it as brass and then paint it after with the fabrics on it. Because it'll stand out. So it's going to get some black paint on it, or some almost black paint on it. Cat is now giving a short, sharp meow, which means turn the light off and go to bed. So I have to go. Okay, good night, Stephen. It has been great to see you here again. And I look forward to seeing you here again in the future. Got to listen to the domestic authorities after all. Indeed you do. And hello, Great Northern. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. Liz, we've got to 10:30. We've had so much fun talking that I've not even asked any of you what you're up to this evening. So please do tell. Because I always enjoy hearing about what my viewers are doing. This is awkward. I want to get that out of there now. Very well, thank you. How are you? I am very well, thank you. Furry domestic authorities are the best of domestic authorities. Test painting ratio carriage kit. Trying to see whether multiple thin coats of precision paints give a smooth finish. Well, I have never had any issue with Phoenix paints giving a smooth finish. So I hope it works well for you, James. The next thing will be to have a go at lining. That'll be fun. After all the things you've been doing in Engage, won't be a problem for you at all, I'm sure. Have built the back half of the Hornby Victorian semi-kit to a point where it will need painting. Now working on CAD for an LSWR 6-wheeler. Oh, excellent. This is as advanced as my CAD gets, by the way. This Midland carriage that has some very complex lining. Indeed it does. It's a shame that we didn't get this whilst Stephen was here. He is, of course, a Midland man and a carriage man. So you must get it right. 3 6-wheelers enough to finish set train. Oh, excellent. But I'm no good at freehand work, so I'm sceptical, but I have a bow pen. You'll do fine, James. Look, the bot wants me to drink. That piece of paper looks like a football field gone wrong. I suppose. Certainly one way of looking at it. The bot wants me to hydrate and my hydration vessel is empty. Anyone seen those videos, Genesis test sample coaches? I have. Aren't they very nice looking? Aren't they very nice indeed? The redeeming feature of the Midland carriage is that the lining follows the contours of the beading. Indeed it does, and very nicely too. So remember everyone, hydration is important. Seen Jennifer Kurtz. Yeah, I've watched Jenny's one as well. Amusingly, she put a picture up on the Genesis thread earlier to show the coaches in a layout setting and was talking about how well they're all running and how even the 6-wheelers traverse the layout really nicely. And if you look closely at the picture she's posted, there is a 6-wheel brake on the back of her train and it would appear the middle wheel set is derailed in the picture. Because of course it is. Right, so you've seen me solder all night. You've seen me cut some fabric. Shall we build some stairs whilst we wait for that to dry? I'm hoping that's going to be dry enough to get that on there tonight. And to answer Linny's question, I'm planning on using PVA and just completely soaking this stuff in PVA and wrapping it round and hoping and praying for the best. Yeah, that's the reaction I had when someone pointed it out as well. Heritage Railway Productions. Oh, I know what I've done with my bit of plastic art that I want. It's over on the layout. It's not in my plastic art bag. because this is all of the correct size plastic card I've got. And, well, I've been cutting carriage sides out of it. Still trying to decide which ones to get. I have 4 on pre-order with LBSC liveries on them. There's the rubbish scissors gone. There's the rubbish scissors. Don't be sad, rubbish scissors. It's not your fault you're rubbish. You're just old. After my nice CAD work on the one that I was doing to put on the website earlier, I showed this one to my daughter and asked her if she could tell what it was. I got the response of some kind of insect. This being its body, its head, and its legs. Of course, as I said earlier, it's a set of steps. How is that a set of steps, you ask? Watch and find out. Gosh, I hope the 6-wheel is stable. I need one for my van train for the southern layout. I'm sure it is actually stable. And that it was just a coincidence that it had derailed then. I mean, it's on a straight bit of track, so I doubt that it was a derail from actually running. Shouldn't name here not give a clue as to which one you might want. It's a good point, James. That was doing some work on scenery, plus I'm repairing with my Warhammer club. Awesome. I am also doing work on scenery. SR liveried full brake. I think I end up getting more 6-wheel ones than 4-wheeled ones. Already have a few 4-wheeled coaches. Yeah, but these will be good 4-wheeled coaches. These are going to be so much better than the Hornby or Ratio ones. Prove with your daughter. I thought you might like that one, James. I plan on making NER ones in the 3rd batch, which I buy in a heartbeat. So many others look nice. I think, personally, the Great Western livery really suits them. I assume they're a million miles out from Great Western coaches, but I do think that livery really suits them. Now I have to remember to remove that bit of the stream so that no one can ever use that against me. All of mine will hopefully be SECR ones, depends how late I order them. Yep, fair enough. It's fantastic so far, thank you, Christopher. Planning to get some for my planned underground theme layout. Indeed, they'll be good for that. Really enjoy watching it come together. Thank you, Christopher. Are the Ratio 4-wheelers are not good? Oh, no, the Ratio 4-wheelers are great. But let's be honest, Hattons are really, really going all out with these, and they're doing a fantastic job on them. God, someone better not let Hattons hear me say that. I'm going to have to remove loads of this stream so that people can't use it against me, aren't I? Roxy, Great Western 4-wheel kits. Oh, do they? Nice Vikings in the background. Thank you. They are a coal factor for my exhibition layout based on Hailsham. Proof of going all out. Indeed, so do I, James. Mine will all be repainted royal blue and white for my fictional railway company. They suit that perfectly. They do, and they'll be excellent. Hornby ones are atrocious. I've got the 3D printed ones and the ratios. You've got the... How are the 3D printed ones? I tried to get some that came up on eBay a while ago. They were really good price. I grabbed them, and they never arrived. Hornby ones are railroad standard. ones, there's no real comparison. I don't think the Hornby ones are even that good. Ratio kits are very fiddly, especially if you cut them up like I did. There is a series from the live stream some time back of converting them into South Eastern and Chatham coaches, and they looked great. Ratio four-wheelers, perfectly fine. Manu buffers, a bit of detail, they look excellent. Yeah, but they're not at the Hattons level of detail. And when you also take the price of the Hattons ones into account, that there's no competition, which is better. So look very GWR, I'm glad of it, seeing as they are Great Western four-wheelers. Given that they are more screwed on, this is a good thing. I like to think my ratio carriages don't look very GWR. Are they out on the layout? I don't think they are. No. No. Lots and lots and lots of Brighton four-wheelers on the layout. Tempted to cut the brake coach kit I have after watching your stream. Ah, do it! Do it! Unfortunately, I can't make the drawings for those available because they are copyright. Otherwise I would. I do believe the articles have been shared on my Discord. In fact, on my Discord, the articles are definitely available. Because they're in my South Eastern and Chatham drawings folder. Matte Wickham ones are amazing, all the details are there, all needs fitting with the handrails, and then paint and transfers, all, and of course the chassis. Excellent. Excellent. Here P-Class 178 is going to be withdrawn for overhaul soon. It has been withdrawn for overhaul now. It is done. Its boiler ticket has expired. A long overdue withdrawal because the thing is in terrible shape. So I can't see it appearing on the actual list of locos to be worked on anytime soon. Especially with one of the other P-classes getting ready to re-enter service. But yes, it has indeed gone. My little ratio four-wheeler is pretty good though, Gary will know what I mean. Indeed, they are great coaches. Believe today was Nettle's last day of service. It was indeed. Sorry, off to bed now, Fred. Very nice work on the tent, Gary. Look forward to catching the rest of Heights Model on YouTube tomorrow. Okay, thank you for coming, Ian. It has been great to have you here. Sleep well and don't work too hard tomorrow. There are model trains waiting for you when you get home. How many things are wrong with it again? I mean, the main thing is the cylinder block. That's a big one. I mean, there are at least patterns for the cylinder block now because they had them made for Primrose. But the main one is the main problem with it is the cylinder block because it only actually has one functional cylinder. Which some might consider suboptimal. So is 753 the only P-Class running now? Is that being overhauled as well? I don't know 753's status, unfortunately. But hopefully it won't be too long before Primrose is back in service now. I believe if it wasn't for the apocalypse happening, Primrose would be back in service already. Where are my knife blades? This is not exactly a small box to go missing. But I know this blade is no good. I might have to put it back in the knife and use it though. Oh no, there they are. They've fallen under the stapler that's not moved in well over a year, interestingly. Just a couple of knife blades, so this one can come off and go in my dead knife blade box. I'm supposed to empty this at the end of a stream when I switch the knife blade. But do I? No, that's why it's got like 5 blades in it. Primrose Bluebell, isn't it? Yes, Primrose is the one the Bluebell are currently working on. In some ways I feel sorry for 753, it seems to get forgotten a lot compared to the Bluebell trio. I think that's just because it's separate to the Bluebell trio. They get remembered because there's so many of them. Let's be honest, the P classes as a whole, when you consider that they were a class of 8 locos, have done quite well for themselves. Half the class in preservation. It certainly gets forgotten on my layout because I've got models of the Bluebell trio. I don't have one of 753. You sit on top. Why is the soldering iron still on? Let's turn that off before I burn myself on it. I should probably adjust the camera slightly so you can see what I'm doing. I am currently cutting out what will be the sides of the steps. There will be a banister attached to these. I've somehow bent the knife blade already. That's a good start. It's probably because of my glass cutting mat. Really, the glass should only be used when I'm balancing wheels and stuff, and I should have an actual cutting mat. But I have enough knife blades that I can afford to blunt a few of them. I haven't actually got a Hampton's P-Class yet, planning on getting 753 at some point in the future. I can definitely recommend them as a model. They are fantastic in every way whatsoever. .753 is unique to the 4 those as coal rails. Ah! I actually did not know that. I'm learning. I like the look of the Hampton's P-Class. From the reviews I've seen, they run great. They do indeed run great. They are incredible locos. So I have 3 of them. And it's not like me to buy multiples of a small 060. Never. I have banisters and stairs to put together in this house kit. Well, get on with it then. I'm scratch building mine. So no, rubbish scissors, not good scissors. Proof of learning. Getting it before James does. There we go. Still annoyed to miss out on the SCR grey one. Yeah, I was tempted to get a grey one. Because I've got Primrose and Nettle in Wainwright and Bluebell in blue. Because of course. You know, so I definitely don't need that many P classes. But at the same time, I do. Especially because they are the Bluebell locos. There have been many locos in the past I have justified with the Bluebell. It's a Bluebell loco. I do feel that's a perfectly valid reason to buy something. You definitely need that many P classes. Yeah, I agree. What would be really nice though, Linny, would be like a South Eastern and Chatham 6-wheel push-pull rake for one of them to pull. Really surprised there are still P classes available on Hatton's website. Yeah, some are actually. But they did say they were going to make enough that they had them in stock. Hopefully, the Genesis coaches stick around for just as long in all their liveries. Bear with me, that's on the go in the background. Thought it got forgotten about. It's good to hear it's on the go. I know you had the issues with it, so I wouldn't blame you for just saying nope. So this section we're cutting now is going to make the platform at the top that comes out from the edge of the quarried wall. Push-pull rated P-class, what more would you want? Exactly, Great Northern. Kit's possibly getting an upgrade. Oh, interesting. Proof patterns P-classes, I have one, well built. Got Southern Black one, applied green line and using transfers. You did, and you made a thread about it on our own web to find out how to apply the transfers. There are a couple more things on the front burner. Nah, you want to get straight on with that. So yeah, this is the actual platform sticking out. And then the stairs will come off here, and then these three parts around make up the same as this, around the edges of this. And this will allow our lumberjacks to get off the train at the station, which is of course at the top above the cutting, above the quarried area even, and walk down to come and cut trees. The tents and stuff will also be at the top, making up offices and mess halls and all that jazz. Not really going to be an actual mess though, is it there? But the lumberjacks are drafted in and work. Well, there are some lumberjacks drafted in and work, and all of them are working for the army. So they would have provided facilities, bare minimum, but they would have provided them. The ones that have gone for, the ones that have gone are Bluebell, of course, Pride of Sussex, Pioneer 2, Southern Sunshine Black, BR Black, Egyptian Lettering, Maunsell Green, SCR Grey. Interesting. Whoever makes an SCR pushable set can literally take my money. Oh, Pioneer 2's gone now, but get 753 quick then. You had. So there you are, Linny. Great Northern wants you to have their money. Surely that moves things closer to the front if they're going to have guaranteed sales. At least I hope it does. There are currently 2 P classes on Oak Hill, by the way. Primrose and Nettle are up there. I should have had Nettle and the H class in the background today, shouldn't I? Ah, fool. Why did I go with the... Oh, I went with the wagons because of the review coming out on Tuesday. As long as I have the money, you can have the money. No, it's too late. You've said it now. As soon as Linny releases them, you have to buy them instantly, even if you don't have the money. Now I'm going to make this one slightly long, because I was drawing these quickly and never took into account the thickness of the plasticard. Have found some SCR push-pull coaches on Shapeways. Get them interesting, useful links in Discord. There are indeed. They are very expensive and not available in a great material. Hydration is important. They are by Recreation 21. For the price, I wouldn't. Don't Roxy do SECR push-pull coaches? I do not know. We are talking specifically of the small variety rather than the big bogey ones. Alex can't hear me answering him, by the way, everyone. I believe it's possible that Roxy have bogey ones, but not the six-wheelers. I don't know why I'm doing this bit now. I should have peeled it all off first. Shush. Don't point out how silly I am, because I know. Not the six-wheel ones as far as I'm aware. Alex, yeah. But does Alex know we're talking about the six-wheel ones? Because unless someone said it in chat. Since he cannot hear me, because silly YouTubes. I'm glad I put the lid back on that. Because otherwise I'd have none left and a very wet mouse for the laptop. I doubt nail varnish removal would be very good for it. I really have no idea what's being said, so I'm having to work out stuff from the chat line. Exactly. See? Oh look, there's a donation link. You can all feel free to donate and set off Stepney's whistle. If you go to that donation link and donate, Stepney will whistle at you. I bet there's enough there that I can do it like that now. That has actually worked. I shouldn't be surprised that the thing I said was going to work would work. No, no, not paint. Not paint. I never spilt any paint. There's no need for that. Get rid of that bit as well whilst we're here. Let's dry these as well and we'll build the platform. Right, I'm off to bed. Thanks for streaming the Arrow Night. Oh, good night, Great Northern. Has been great to have you here, and I hope to see you again next week. Time for some super glue. Which will be applied with the pin. Linny has donated $3. Thank you, Linny. There is Stepney's whistle for you all. Courtesy of Linny. I'll tell you what, I dread the day that I need to make this bench look nice and I have to sand off all these bits of filler and super glue. But obviously it's got to happen eventually. So there we go, there's our platform for the top. and then the stairs will come down from that. This is dry enough. We're going to do it because I want this tent finished. I know we've got an hour left, but I want it done. So yes, the plan is we smother this in PVA. And we hope that doesn't leave a visible mark on the fabric. I'm happy with that so far. So this live stream is very intense. But thanks for coming, J94. Has been good having you here. Sleep well and all that jazz. Right, that goes there. I'll put it slightly too high up. And I've got a paintbrush in my mouth. Let's get that back on and then read Red's comment. I'm going to have to hit the hay too. Got work early in the morning. See you tomorrow. Okay, see you later, Red. Thank you for coming. Has been great having you here. Don't work too hard. And all that jazz. We shall now let this set and then get the doors open on it later. But I am quite happy with how that looks. It does, to me, look like a British Army bell tent. kind of what I was going for. Let's get these peeled off. That tent looks very tent-like. It does, doesn't it? Very nice. Thank you, Alex. Alex, of course, knows exactly what I'm looking for. In looks for this tent. And yes, I do think that looks very much like what I was aiming for. I am really happy with that. Gonna need some more acetone on that next time I'm clearing that off. So yes, smash the like button for the tent. The tent wants your likes. Now I need to cut out the template for making the actual steps for these stairs. Tentage. Yes, the first of probably 3. I was originally going to have 2, but I think it's going to be 3. Well, I stayed up this late to see a tent like tent. Worked tomorrow, I'm off to bed. Same time zone. Good morning, all. Good night, Paderborn. Thank you for staying up to see the tent like tent. I am glad you think it's tent like, and I'm glad I got it done for you. Tenty Tent says good night. Thanks for coming. Thank you for the suggestion to do scenic items, for that matter. I'm really glad that's worked out. And remember everyone, if you want tent-like tents, then head over to my website, exclamation mark website in the chat, or just oakhillmodelrailway.co.uk in your address bar. Head over to the download section and you can download the PDF of the template I drew to make that. It does not have any of the measurements you need on it, or any other helpful information, because I forgot to add all that before uploading it. But if you have a picture with you, you can basically get there. And if you go back to the start of the stream, I did say all the measurements and stuff, so there's that. Right then, stairs for my stairs. Do I need this many stairs? Not a chance. I'll be honest, that's kind of the point. Just started my penultimate Engage crossover. Oh, excellent. I still think track building will be one of those jobs that when I do eventually do it, and I will at some point, but I think it'll be one of those jobs that I'll be glad to know I don't have to do it again. Shame nobody produced a kit for the M15X. Well, if you can't get a kit for something, James, Scratchbuild. That's my advice. I assume the drawings are in Russell. I know the feeling might get a couple of logos out. We use Pico. Scratch build a tender engine with outside valve gear? Yes. Yes. Why not? Am I right in thinking the N15X is the one that was rebuilt from the Brighton Baltic tanks? More intrepid modeler than I. Well, you are in that case. What you want is an LNER A1 chassis with the rear end chopped off. It has the right size wheels. It has the right valve gear on it. I believe it's certainly right for when it was an L class. So you want an A1 chassis, chop the back of it off. There you go, there's your chassis. Now you just need to build the body. Where there is a will, James, there is a way. Interesting one. Does it have the right wheel spacing? It does. It has perfect wheel spacing. My L class is on a Hornby Flying Scotsman chassis. Actually, stress not right. M15X had slide valves, so the cylinders are all right. There we go. There had to be something to throw a spanner in the works, didn't there? You've only got to make new cylinders and you've got all the valve gear that you can use though. I mean, it can't be that much to alter. You're most of the way there. I say still do it. Right, I think that's enough to get us started. Those round cylinders are a distinctive part of the look. Well then. Chop the cylinders off and get some round plastic. It gives you most of what you need. There is always a way. Plus it means chopping up an LNER loco, and that's always good fun. In fact, for my L class, I even reused the boiler, chimney and dome from the A1. Had to build it a firebox, had to move the chimney and dome. Smokebox door required some minor modification, but not much. Still sounds a bit advanced. I'll have to try an SE Finecast kit first. Nah, you'll be fine. Perhaps an i3 with a heavy air body. Well, why not? You never know, by the time you've done that, there might be an N15X that you can just buy. As a kit, I mean, not as ready to run, because I don't see it getting the ready to run treatment. Perhaps a butt jumper for a club layout. Well then, plenty of choice. One cannot have too many projects on the go at once. There's a bit that stayed behind there. There we go. Look at that, I've almost got all the double-sided tape, all the paper off. Then I need to clean the double-sided tape off, and that's not going to be fun. Because again, we need the acetone and the toothbrush. It's an idea that I've very much taken to heart, I think. Excellent! That's what I like to hear, James. Having lots of projects on the go at once means that when you get stuck on one, you can just move on to another one. And the railway modelling need never cease. And then, you know, eventually you can go back to that first one and finish it. I mean, that is why most of us have multiple projects on the go, isn't it? I wonder if I have enough on the bench that I can turn these round and do that with them yet. That would be a yes. I can't believe that works with something as smooth as glass. Three model rail projects on the go in my shed, let alone the club layout on which I worked, and that's not including computer games programming, simulations extended. What's wrong with OpenTTD? Yeah. Variety is the spice of life, but cinnamon is the spice of pudding. Love it. Although I also use cinnamon in my coffee come Christmas time. Bit of cinnamon, bit of nutmeg, bit of chocolate powder. Makes a wonderful coffee. There's nothing wrong with it as such, but does OpenTTD have a variety of LBSC locomotives and carriages, signal boxes, working signals, including time intervals and ring signals? Does OpenTTD have time-based passenger routing? It has none of those things, and you know it has none of those things, James. Bye, Plasticard. You enjoy the floor. You can come back now. So, now we have the horrible job of getting the steps in place on here. It's nearly 11:30. My gosh, we are getting on for time tonight, aren't we? But I think we've done rather well. It's through working on Simulations Extended that I first came to research the LBSC in detail. Interesting. I do believe you actually mentioned that once before. And it made me go and check it out, because I have myself not got it installed at the moment, but I don't have OpenTTD installed either. And see, this is where we have lots of fun. I'm not too worried about them being perfectly straight, because I don't think they would have been in real life in this scenario. But somewhere close to it would be nice. stuck. Quite a bit of LBSC content seen trains extended with pack 1 to 8 brick. Yes, when I last played it there was a fair amount of LBSC in there, but I expect that's grown since then. What I really need to do at some point, James, is watch your videos on it. That's something I always meant to do but never got round to. Which of course leaves me with the question of, are your videos still relevant? Because obviously they're getting on a bit now. Do things still work like they worked then? I still need to make more videos too, but fixing bugs always seems a higher priority. The videos are still relevant, yes. Excellent. I can see why bug fixing is more important than making videos. We now have alpha blend, although the graphics have improved a little since most of them were made. We now have alpha blending. Excellent. I approve of alpha blending. So you look at that, we're almost all the way down the flight of stairs with this lot I cut. I mean, I knew I'd made way too many on the sheets, but I didn't realise it was quite that many too many. Gosh, where will this staircase be leading? So, if you... Well, I'm trying to think whether... I mean, the thumbnail of this video, or this live stream, where the tunnel mouth is at the bottom of the quarry with the station area above it, this will be close to that tunnel mouth, leading down from the station area into the old quarry pit. Right, I would very much like to remind you all, I did not measure this or count how many steps I needed. But that there is exactly the right number of steps. I am slightly impressed with myself for getting that right. I wanted to cut roughly the right number. I didn't think I would do the whole flight in exactly the number I'd cut. You're quite right, James. Hydration is indeed important, as is terriers on cups. I approve of exactly the right number of steps. That is the best number of steps. It is indeed. I cannot argue with you there. I mean, this is by no means a scaled staircase where all the stairs are nice and exactly the right distance apart, but it's not meant to be either. Talking of terriers, my cunning plan does entail use terrier to slows until I get round to building / having built a D1. Well, in that case, James, I hope you never get round to building a D1. Because those services would be much better served by a terrier. Right, that's not quite gone as well as I'd like, so we'll get some more glue in on these. I didn't know that it was a D1, seems most likely, but D3 or A1 are also possible. Well, if an A1 is ever possible, an A1 is what it should be. Alright, I need to take a little bit off there. And I can tell you why I need to take a little bit off there. Where's my mark that I put on there? There it is. That's because when I made it, I never took into account the thickness of these sides. So the gap I left was only the width for the stairs, which would be fine if this stuck out as far as here, but it doesn't. There we go. So now we want some glue here, some glue here, and some glue here. And that gives us our flight of steps down into the quarry, which will be getting banisters, because obviously they're quite steep. Again, the steepness was planned. But that'll be some more of this brass to make some uprights and then some railings round. So, you know what we need to do now? As we have 25 minutes still. I must say we are progressing through these projects rather nicely. my aim was only that 1/10 would be finished by the end of the live stream. As long as I got that done, I was like, yeah, I'll be happy with that. Where's my ruler? There it is. So that is already about 5mm. Trying to think how far I want to stick up. About 12-ish to go 3 foot. Is that right? Or do I want a bit under that? We're going with it. That puts us there. That puts... There they are. Banister height, that might be a bit high. Let's eyeball it and then measure from that. That looks more like what I was thinking. So we want these to be in total 15mm. And I think we want 4 on the length of the stairs, including very top and very bottom. Then 1 at the back and 1 there. So that gives us all of those. Really, we should have bent the end ones. That would have made sense. Never mind, too late now. And then we want the same for the other side, but without 1 to take it to the back. So how is everyone getting on? Do we still have projects on the go? Please do tell me. Or have we all fallen asleep? I wouldn't blame you. Engage crossovers, of course. You insane person, James, that's what you are. And now I've broke that. Yeah, there's still some wet glue there. There is the top of our banister. You say that I'm the insane one, yet you recommend Scratchbuilding M15X. I do. Track at least comes in kits with jigs and clear instructions and even tutorial videos. I'm giving you a perfect tutorial on Scratchbuilding here. It's the best tutorial. I don't know what you're on about. This shows you how to scratch build everything. All you need is some imagination, some brass and some solder. And remember, James, I did scratch build an L class. And there's a kit for that. Tent is not quite the same as an M15X. Yeah, it is. It's exactly the same. I see no difference. I've built some stairs as well. I suppose you'd be telling me they're not quite an M15X and all. Right, that's the 5 for the rear, this is the 6 for the front. Luckily for this we only need to tin one side of them. That didn't go all the way round. That's better. One or two subtle differences, yes. As long as there are only subtle differences. But at least I'm working in 4mm. Can see that. Just when I wear my glasses. get the pin to apply some. Still got super glue on it because I used it again, hasn't it? See, it's a very versatile bit of kit, my pin. Everyone should have a pin. It does super glue, it does flux. I mean, it does other stuff too, probably. I have a needle embedded in a cork, that works. But mine also held my buttonhole on at my sister's wedding. Super versatile. That shouldn't go that way. It should go on the outside. Because once these are on the stairs, these supports will be on the outside of the stairs. So they should be on the outside of the banister too. See, it's almost like I know what I'm doing. Almost. $70. I need that in quarters. What's a quarter of 70? $275? Somewhere around that. No, don't move. Now you ruined everything. You know what I should use here? I should use this to hold that in place, and then it can't ruin everything by running away. There we go. They're definitely not all right, but they're close enough. from the wagon. There we go. So we have just one more of these to stick on. Like that. And then we have a device that will stop all our lumberjacks killing themselves on the stairs. That's soldered together so well, bits are just going to fall off of it. That's not actually where I wanted you to bend. So we best get that soldered back on, I suppose. Right then, it's super glue time. Bot needs to give Monty Python responses to this command. It does. And it has always been, ever since I first started planning this layout, there has always been a temptation to have a lumberjack in drag on the layout. I approve of lumberjacks in drag. I thought you might. Discussing it with someone one day and said, yeah, but why? Because no one's going to get that reference. So people that matter will get the reference. To which he said, how do you define people that matter? And I said, well, mainly because they get the reference. One for model you. and then do the figure painting for the figure on the live stream. Definitely not posing as one myself. Well, that all dried too quickly, didn't it? That was a reasonably predictable thing to happen. can we get it to dry in time? Because we only have a few minutes left. Does not want to stick. It's having none of it. I'm just trying to get this one to stick now, because at least then it's on. But it's not interested in being stuck. And once I've got one stuck, I can do the rest of them much easier. But it would appear that this banister has no interest in becoming one with the stairs. But it does at least look good if you sort of hold it in place. It's actually nowhere near the top here. I don't know how well that's showing up on the camera. But once they're all painted, it'll be fine. But before paint, we must stick. And it really is having none of it. That's irritating. We'll pretend it's stuck because it is now midnight. So if I lay it like that, we can pretend it's stuck. And we'll bring the tent back into view. Because, as James would say, I'm about to turn into a pumpkin. So I'd like to remind everyone, before we go, that hydration is important. I would like to thank you all for being here this evening. I have had a fantastic time building these items for the narrow gauge layout. I am very happy with how they come out. I'm really, really happy with the tent. I am actually in a minute going to run off and put the tent on the layout and have a look at it there because I am really, really, really happy with it. Very nice work tonight. Delighted to change from normal stream projects. Thank you, Alex. I know you can't hear me, but well, I'm hoping if I talk like this you can hear me, Alex. So thank you if you can hear me. That's fantastic. Great work and great live stream, sir. So yes, thank you everyone for coming. As I say, if you do want to copy the tent, it is available to download on the website. Go and check it out. So thank you for coming. I have had a great time. I hope you have too. But, you know, all that's left for me to say is good night, goodbye, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Good night, everyone.